Hey guys, want that big uppercut, big backhand shot underneath the chin? Stick around for some tips and all the secrets for that punch. Hey team, welcome back to the channel, The Sweet Science. Our aim here is to get you, the viewer, better at boxing. So we've covered quite a lot so far. Today we're going to look at the backhand uppercut. I love this punch. It's my favourite punch. Devastating done right, devastating for you if done wrong. So as always, let's have a quick look at some of the things I see most commonly go wrong. Let's go. So one of the first things that I see go wrong with the uppercut is the classic one, okay? You've got to think about it. If you're fighting someone your height, their chin is roughly about your height as well. And your hand's on your chin, so you've got to get your hand underneath their chin. So the classic one is dropping the hand down here to bring it up. Okay, that's an arm swing, and of course, if this is your safe position, okay? Toe heel line. Feet 45 degrees, soft knees, hands up, chin down, elbows tight. This is your safe position. The moment you're dropping this hand here to bring it up here, you can see the obvious problem, and that is done so much. The other one being from here, not enough. It just kind of goes like this. No power on it whatsoever. Very, very weak arm punch. Biggest common mistakes: drop, throw, little punch. The other one, which is very, very common, this is an uppercut. The clue is in the name. It's up a cut, okay? It's not across this way. So that's the other one. People throw, they drop the hand and they throw across and come here. That's actually a hook, okay? That's up, that's a hook. So if you're throwing your uppercut at the moment, whatever combination you're doing, jab, cross, hook, uppercut, jab, cross, hook, and your uppercut's going over there, that's not an uppercut. It needs to go straight up the middle. Imagine you have a drain pipe here and it's going straight up and straight down again from there, up and back to your chin. So we'll go over some mechanics and ways to get that better right now. So first thing then, you've got to have your good stance. If you've been following this channel, I tell you all, it starts from the ground up, okay? It's nothing to do with just what we do with our hands. So if I turn to the side, there's several ways to teach this. There's a way I prefer, and I'm going to go over that first. At the end of the day, I'm not a big man. I'm quite small for my size, but biggest muscle in the human body, way bigger than my biceps. So I'm going to use my legs to give me some force on that shot. Remember, speed times mass equals power. So we just spoke about hand dropping down here to throw, or hand coming around here and up across the center line. I need this punch, or you need this punch to come up and back down again. Up and back down again. Another thing people do a lot of it is they curl the punch, because they keep the arm nice and bent and they throw like this. This always cracks me up when it happens. I shouldn't laugh at people, really. I know that's bad of me and I'm a bad coach for doing it, but it does make me laugh. So they keep the arm bent and they do this swinging motion here. You know what I'm going to say. Bop! Punch themselves in the face. It never fails to amuse me. And have a good giggle about it, and then tell them how to do it again properly. So when we're doing this punch, I want to minimize the amount of time this hand leaves my chin. There is another way to do it, we'll go over that as well. I'm going to take my hand down so you can see. So here, if I'm trying to hit someone the same height as my chin, and I take my hand down here to bring it up, there's a period of time where that is away. So what I like to get our guys to do, and what I strongly suggest you guys do, is actually dip the legs. So if you notice, if I dip my legs, my hand's not left my chin yet. So I dip my legs, and on the way up I push from the back foot with all the good rotations that we've been speaking about so far, and the hand comes out and up. So I've got two kind of dips there. I dip down, up, and dip down to recover. Okay, if I do it facing you here, I dip down, drive from the back foot, the back heel lifts, the rear hip comes forward, the left shoulder pulls back, and on the way up, notice how little time my hand spends away from my chin. I'll take this hand down. So I'm up, drive, pop, and back down. Okay, it's punched from the legs. So I'm here. I create the little dip and drive from my legs. We'll have a look at other ways to do it as well. So we need to talk about the good old boxer's shoe shine. Some of you might not have heard of this, some of you might have seen it somewhere else. The shoe shine. It's some people use it as a warm-up exercise, some people use it as an increasing of the speed exercise, but basically I'm here, and for a period of time I make my feet and my hands go as fast as I can. Okay? You see Inoue do this all of the time when he's shadow boxing. What I'm actually doing is my left hand is coming up as my left foot strikes the ground, and then my right hand is coming up as my right foot strikes the ground from there. But, key point, if you actually notice what I'm not doing, I'm not driving my hands like this. I'm actually rolling my shoulders. Shoulder comes forward, which starts to lift the hand. Shoulder comes back, which brings the other one forward. So actually, if I try and do this as slow and correctly as possible, I'm not really moving my hands. Yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm pulling my shoulders. And this goes back to what we've said in previous videos. All of your punches are not pushed, they're pulled from the opposite shoulder. If I was throwing my right hand, I pull my left shoulder, and vice versa. Similar thing going on here. I'm in my boxing stance. I'm pulling that shoulder, this shoulder's driving forwards, and then it's coming back from there, creating this little movement. I have heard some coaches go as far as calling it scapular release, because your scapula's round here and you're driving that forwards and whipping it back. If it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. This is just the way I was taught. So I want to create some whip on that punch, because here's another way that you can throw that uppercut. It doesn't involve the dip. This is a more traditional way of doing it. So we'll say we're going to throw a jab, cross, hook, uppercut. And it does involve that hand leaving your chin. Jab, cross, hook. When I do that whip, I'll do that slowly. And I'm creating that whip. It's almost like if I had an elastic band and I didn't pull it very far, I went, I go, and I give it a good old stretch, let it go, that's going to fire. Okay? And it's the same thing here. It's almost like there's an elastic band from my chin to my hand. And when I'm creating that whip, what I'm actually doing is I'm pulling that shot there, which is forcing this shoulder forwards, and that creates that whip. If you look at the motion slowly, it's all in the shoulder. Yeah, I'm not pushing the hand up here. Whip, whip, whip. It can be awkward to get, and please do not quit. If you can't get this little shoe shine, it takes time. The difference between people who can do it and people who can't, the ones who can do it, they didn't quit doing it. So have a practice at that, guys. So another thing to think about are your ranges. There's 3 ranges that you want to be able to throw this uppercut in. Obviously, close, mid, and long range. And it's another reason why you want to be able to pull that shoulder and whip it back to create that movement of the hand. So again, I'm pushing the shoulder, whipping, and you see how the hand pops about that far. That's a shoulder movement. Yeah, comes forward and pulls. So if I'm doing a close range uppercut and I haven't got the ability to whip that shoulder back to create the whip, you're going to go and probably punch yourself in the face. Close range uppercuts are done, surprisingly enough, at close range. So they're nice and short shots, you know, you've got your hands head to head on someone's guard here, and it's that little shot just through the middle there. Mid-range is a one that you ought to be practicing at the moment as a beginner, the most, I would suggest, which is just that elbow out. Now here's another thing you want to think about with your mid-range. Let me turn this way. So I've pulled my shoulder back. You see a lot of people, this elbow is back here. There's no structure behind my punch, that's weak on my wrist. So you want to be getting that elbow out and underneath your arm, okay? Here. Anytime you're doing that, you'll find you're hitting a target or feel really weak. Plus, you're hitting the top side of the knuckles there. You want to be making contact with that. So something you want to look out for if you are doing it. You might feel like you're hitting that part of the hand, but you might also be bending the wrist like this. That's always going to be weaker than that elbow out underneath the shot from there. However, long range, and I thought this was a really good tip. I actually got this from a Thai boxing friend of mine. If I had a plate in my backhand, a plate of food or a plate of whatever, and I was going to offer it up to somebody, I'd offer it up. There you go, like so. There you go. That's similar to your long range uppercut. I'm going to offer, again I'm going to take this hand out the way so you can see better. I'm going to offer that plate of food here. Yeah, so I'm offering and back. Again, it's difficult for me not to do this little dip. I've been doing it so long that I like to dip and throw my punch from there. If I was just throwing it, say after a jab, it would be here. So I have got that little element of the hand creating a bit of rotation, but there's your jab, offer the plate from there. But you want to be practicing all three of these uppercuts. I'm not going to lie, personally, I've not used long range uppercuts that much. I prefer to get to the mid range or close range to use them punches, but a lot of people have a lot of success with it. Just wasn't for me. That does not mean that's not for you though. So here's a little demonstration of those ranges in action. So we'll start at close range. So again, this is where we're kind of hands up, but we've both got our guard up from there. It's a short, sharp punch, okay? I'm not going to drop down here and try and do this, okay? It's a short, sharp movement from here, yeah, and quickly back to the hands. Your mid-range, the one we've just been practicing, that's coming up to the center line. Look where my forearm is, and it's catching just under the chin from there. So mid-range, look at the distance from here. Mid-range, I'm going to dip, but you could of course put a little swing in from here. I always spoke about shoulder forwards and whips, but I'm personally going to dip. And then of course your long range, remember I'm going to offer up the plate from here. So there's your three ranges that we can work. Or if you have something like this, if not, shadow box, but we're going to do a little drill on the bag to help you with those uppercuts at mid-range and make sure that your elbow is underneath the punch, and we'll do that right now. Now, some people may think that this drill might seem a bit of a waste of time because you're not really hitting anything, you know, there's no chin on this whatsoever. But I personally like the drill, and I've done it so many repetitions over the years. So we spoke about how the elbow wants to be underneath the hand to give us a good structure here. So what I like to get people to do, and what I still to this day do myself when I'm doing my bag rounds, I want to throw that uppercut. There's no target, so I want to make sure that my hand and my forearm are landing on the target. So from here, see how everything is on target, yeah? Yeah, so what I haven't done is gone, scraped my hand up the bag and my elbows off. Straight up. Straight up. That's giving me a good connection between wrist, elbow and shoulder from here. Another thing for you just to think about, whilst we're on the subject, I'll explain this red line I have on my bag, or our bags at the gym. It's a rough chin height for the average person when you're in a boxing. So if I stand tall, it's obviously a bit, if I'm in my boxing stance, it's a rough chin height. Another common problem that I see a lot of is this. Hand coming right up here. You only need to lift the head. Okay, and with the correct body mechanics and you're driving that shot in, my hand's only traveling about that far. If you look again, I'll take this hand out of the equation. Look how little my hand travels. I dip, hand's not traveled yet, but I'm creating motion now. Hand's not left the chin yet. Pop. And I'm back to the chin. It's enough to just lift the head and distract from there. Done correctly, if I don't see it coming, good night. So if you are practicing these uppercuts, make sure you're not trying to punch all the way up here. It's that short, sharp, stabbing motion. Boom, and back to your guard. Work this drill on your back, guys. You can do it with both hands. Work your mid-range uppercuts. My opinion, best ones. Chaining a couple of things together when you're practicing your drills and when you're doing your shadow boxing. Bit of a golden rule, it's not written in stone, but uppercuts follow hooks and hooks follow uppercuts. So we recently done a video talking about the lead hand hook and the rear hand hook and everything like that. So hopefully we've got that down, or you're still practicing getting your rotations, and that's okay if you're still practicing. If you haven't seen that, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can go back and look at that. But mechanically, uppercuts follow hooks and hooks follow uppercuts. So there's no reason why you can't practice in your shadow boxing, and they're both mid-range punches. Rear hand uppercut, lead hook. Lead hand uppercut, rear hook. Rear hook, lead hand uppercut, lead hook, rear hand uppercut. They go together so well, and you can really start to get some whip on them punches if you are doing your body mechanics and you're making sure you're taking the time and putting the effort in to make sure we're getting everything mechanically correct. If not, you'll be doing this. No power, and you're not defensively responsible. You want to be more from here. They go together very, very well. I personally like a jab and a backhand uppercut. Seems a bit weird, a long range attack followed by a mid-range attack. Jab, uppercut. Now I do tend to put a little bit extra length on that. My theory has always been, so your jab, if you're a right-hander who's coming down here, someone inside slips, and that's right in the lane of my uppercut. I do like that one. But they go together very, very well. Hooks and uppercuts. Make sure you are rotating. Okay, it's not this or this. I don't ever want that hook to come past my nose line. Okay, if I'm doing that, my shoulders are squared. If you look, it's because I've rotated. Yeah. I know I just took my eyes off the target, but basically, there, I've got one eye down the barrel of the gun. So, uppercut, hook. Dip with the uppercut, dip, hook. Slightly more scapular release, so I'm not going to dip so much. They go together very, very well. Make sure you're practicing those as well, guys. Once you have that down, we can improve ourselves a little bit further when we're doing our shadow boxing and make this a muscle memory. It's a little three-stage thing that I like to call move your hands, move your head, then move your feet. It keeps you defensively responsible. So we've been working on getting good mechanics of this uppercut. That's move your hands. So I want to move my head. Personally, it makes sense to put a little roll on from here. Move your hands, move your head, move your feet. Move your hands, move your head, move your feet. You can combine the two. We'll go over that at a later lesson. But if you can already do your rolls, move your hands, move your head, move your feet. And you can start putting that into any of your shadow boxing drills. Move your hands, move your head, move your feet. Hands, head, feet. Okay? Advisory to start practicing that if you're not already. Even if you're just shadow boxing slowly, which you should be if you're a beginner, and making sure you're getting your mechanics. Move your hands, move your head, move your feet. If you're not doing that already, start putting that into your shadow boxing drills for a big improvement in your boxing ability. So just combining some drills that we've put together already. We've spoke about our jab. We're now talking about our rear hand uppercut. We have spoke about hooks, whether they are close range, mid range or long range, and just showing you how uppercuts follow hooks and hooks follow uppercuts very, very well. I'm also going to add in move your hands, move your head, move your feet. I'm going to jab. I'm going to mid to long range uppercut the bag, followed by a long range hook. Again, it's a very, very good combination I like to throw. Don't worry if you don't have access to something like this, an aqua bag, you can shadow box it. But basically, the 3 punches with move your hands, move your head, move your feet. Again, slowly, move your hands. Move your head, move your feet. Yeah. Any incoming attacks just gone down where you were. I started here, jab, mid to long range uppercut, long range hook. There's a punch coming down the line. Just missed. Safety first. Move your hands, move your head, move your feet. Okay team, there are a few hints and tips and how-tos for the rear hand uppercut. We will of course look at the lead hand uppercut. If you've been watching and thinking, how do I do that as a southpaw? It's exactly the same, but the opposite way round. If you found this a little bit helpful, please don't be afraid to give us a like or subscribe. It will really help the channel grow. And if you have any questions or if you found it helpful in any way whatsoever, please put it in the comments. We'll respond and thank you for it. I'll see you next time, guys. Go train.